Chris Circley here for HS Game Time Late Night. It is the after hours. It was week 0, but we were on fire. I was out at the Cajon Pass battling the blaze, and it was on fire down here in the Inland Empire for prep football. A few surprises. Shock City, as a matter of fact. Will is here. Will Holden's my sidekick tonight on HS Game Time Late Night. And we cannot believe it, Chaparral. Everyone was riding the Chaparral bandwagon. They had a rough start to the year. Last year, but we thought they were going to come out hot. EPJ, everybody had them as their new, rising star this year to get back on top. But Cajon had other thoughts in mind.
I was on that Chaparral bandwagon, as a matter of fact, Chris, and it was a 30-14 loss for Chaparral. That's about as ugly as it's probably going to get in a week 1. And of course, everybody knows last year had so much trouble with the non-league schedule. Got off to an 0-4 start, and just had their share of struggles.
Let's roll to the action here. You can see Cajon would just dominate. 30-14 was the final score, but Will, when did it just start to unravel? It
started to unravel pretty much the second that DeMonte Casey, the all-star for Cajon, got under center. And we're watching here, Matt Marin and just some new skill players, really, for Chaparral. Here we are with Justin Harris rolling out. And Justin Harris was a guy that they were trying to really get going, and he was a guy they wanted to sort of move into the offense, and he ends up with less than 80 yards rushing tonight. Matt Marin, you see, has his moments. There's no question about his athletic ability and running out of that sort of spread system for Chaparral. And things got off to a good start. But like we said, as we continue here, this is the Matt Marin touchdown run that they get on top. They enjoy it for a little while.
Only a little bit.
And then it goes south.
But, Chaparral, a lot of talk about their defense to begin the season, but allowing 30 points in your first game, not exactly what we had in mind.
And now you're seeing it. This is it. This is DeMonte Casey in the Wildcat, and Ryan Tukwa, new coach over there at Chaparral, said they were prepared for Cajon to come out with a variety of formations. They were not prepared for DeMonte Casey in the Wildcat, and he ran wild. Very appropriately titled formation for this particular game as we're watching the DeMonte Casey show here.
I know it's only one game, but if you're a team like Chaparral that wants to bounce back and make a statement, you got plenty of talent on that roster. What are you saying in the locker room after a game like that?
It's the first game. You can't. It's a non-league game, and so you can't throw sort of the baby out with the bathwater sort of a thing. You got to keep. You got to keep it in gear, because next week you got Oceanside. That's a difficult matchup as well. And so that's you got to go back to work on the defensive side of the ball.
And so definitely a disappointing game for Chaparral. They hope to bounce back next week in the week 1 action. Maybe they forgot that week 0 was part of the schedule. Not quite sure. But now we're going to take a look at Beaumont. Beaumont, the defending champs in their league, but Beaumont, another team that slipped up. Let's take a look at the action from the game tonight. They played Valley View. Valley View would have the upper hand tonight. Will, what happened to Beaumont?
It was a tight one, 17-16. Was a game that Beaumont fell behind from the start, 14-0 there after that the first half, and really they had to scramble to get things back in order. For Valley View, the guy that was the key is Michael Harrison. As a running back, got really off to a hot start, and we're going to see some of him here in these highlights, but was a guy that didn't play at all in the second half. And Valley View has to go with a quarterback, Abraham Nuno, just a young sophomore, and they get into sort of a short sort of a passing game, and that was really the key for them, because I'm not sure that they're able to pull out a win over a team like Beaumont, who was charging back in that second half, getting some momentum going without the poise from that young kid under center.
A sophomore kid like that, to win a game like this against Beaumont, a team that had a very good season last year. For a sophomore, that's got to be a huge confidence booster.
Sure, and it's also a confidence booster for a guy like their kicker, Matthew Sandoval for Valley View, was a guy that booted the game winner as time expired. And I'm told from our very own prep dog that Sandoval's parents were not at the game. They decided that gas prices. I don't think it was a forgetful sort of a thing. I think gas prices being what they are, it's a long trip. to make it out there for that one. And I don't
want to make it out to the next one, I guess.
I would think so. Yeah. It was what John Murphy had said in the story was that they will indeed be kicking themselves for not being at the game to watch their son hit that game winner.
Well, we're going to fast forward to our next game, our third big game of the night. That was the Great Oak Paloma Valley game. Two teams that we saw put in a lot of work in the Summer Passing League. Two teams that definitely put their time clock in. And would it pay off in a big clash between these two teams that look to be rising stars? Let's roll to the action. It was a close one, 28-17 between Paloma Valley, but from the first touchdown of the game, if we can get the highlights rocking and rolling.
It was, it's one of those things in this particular game that we're going to be taking a look at here. That Jacob Surza was a guy that ran for 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, and was one of the guys who really credited his offensive line as we get things rolling here.
Well, this was Jacob Surdeza. He ran down the field for the touchdown in the first quarter. That put them up 7-zip. Then Great Oaks QB Carson Luna with the long pass to Dwayne Solomon, and he goes with the solo for a big gain. Now QB number 13, Logan Tutwiler of Paloma Valley, has a nice deep ball to Anthony Johnston with the long ball down all the way to the 21-yard line. But as it can go in high school football, things go a little wild. The ball gets loose and it's picked up by Paloma Valley's Nico Washtaban. That's a nice name. That goes for the score on the touchdown. That would tie it up at 14-all. Then a nice throw by Paloma Valley, but that one is picked off by Dan Stafiri. And that would do it as Great Oak would lock it up 28-17. A tale of a costly interception there at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm. And there were a couple times where, one of our favorite duos from Paloma Valley in this inland area where they struggled. That Anthony Johnston and Logan Tutwiler, the two connected for 6 times for 91 yards. And they were really one that I was looking to take over this game. But really the key for me, though, was the offensive lines. And I thought Paloma Valley had a little bit of a better offensive line in this game than Great Oak. And Great Oak's offensive lines really showed up. As we mentioned before, Jacob rushes for 228 yards, 2 touchdowns. And that, is the key. I mean, Carson Luna, he's a quarterback that can throw the football, but he's more of a run-based sort of a quarterback. And so having a guy like that to run that spread look, that option read sort of a look was huge, and it led to a win tonight.
Definitely Great Oak for a team that wanted to kind of get out of the middle of the pack there in the Southwestern to win against Paloma. Quality win, can't deny it.
That was a great one tonight. That was one that's one of many that I failed to pick, and I think that's what we're going to be talking about here later.
I believe I did mark down Great Oak in that game. So we'll take a look at our picks a little bit later on. Right now, you can take a look if you're online and taking a look at your picks. We're going to take a look at the scoreboard from the rest of the games that we didn't see highlights from yet tonight. A couple other interesting scores. Canyon Springs did not have the greatest of starts. They lost to Citrus Hill 42-7. Canyon Springs, of course, a rough year last year. We're hoping to fire things up, but didn't quite work out in week 0. On to the next game. Rancho Verde, a favorite of ours in the Inland Empire.
We thought
they come out. I mean, I believe Mr. Hernandez, the QB there, one of Will's best friends, said that they were going to go 40-plus every game. Well, look he must be, Nostradamus, 49-0. The defense wasn't too shabby either. Those guys actually said they were going to go state title. They play like that every week. Who knows? And rolling down the list,
was a big
Ramona.
One.
Mr. T.J. Miller, a guy that we will hear in about 10 minutes. A huge game for him, 28-10. A team that went, 0-10?
0-10 a season ago.
Last year. Well, they got a W up on the board. Maybe they'll go 10-0 this year against King, a team with a new coach. Of course, Great Oak, Paloma Valley, a game that we saw already. A great start to the season for Great Oak. And Heritage and San Jacinto, a big clash.
We thought that one was going to be a little closer than this.
Louis Amestoy, the only guy on the expert staff to pick San Jacinto to win that game. The homer pick backfired once again for Louis. And 42-26, Norte Vista, a team that I really thought might win this game. I changed my pick at the last minute. Temescal won that one 42-26.
Some running backs run wild in that one.
Yep. And Bloomington, Chaffee, Another close one. You got to expect that game was one of those flips of the
Oh
coin.
yeah, oh yeah. Chad, I got it wrong.
I did as well. Santiago and Dana Hill. 53 points. The offense for Santiago firing on all cylinders.
And Coach Jeff Steinberg is going to be a guy we're going to mention in our third segment. So stick around for that.
Yeah, an entertaining piece with him. Desert Hot Springs. Getting blown away. It's windy out there in Desert Hot Springs on a summer night like this. They got blown away by Aquinas 49-7.
Had some trouble with Desert Hot Springs last year. No trouble this year.
Yeah. Eisenhower and Alta Loma 36-30. Eisenhower just by the skin of their teeth.
Boy, Eisenhower is one of those teams that you always kind of wonder what they're going to bring. So it's good for them to get that first win.
A win is a win. And, of course, Notre Dame and Mary Star. That was over at RCC. Dave Zink celebrates. I guess you could call it a big win for Notre Dame. He wanted to switch that scoreboard real quick on that one. Rialto 13-7 over Moreno Valley. Moreno Valley, another team that put a lot of work in over the summer.
Yeah.
Didn't come up for them. Palm Desert, Palm Springs. I refuse to announce the score. That's got to be wrong. Dane Tiedemann and Mr. King, the duo over at Palm Springs, to not have a W and only score 6 points like that, much less. Why would Dave Zink scroll through the Notre Dame score in 2 seconds and then throw this up here for what seems like a half an hour?
And for those of you who don't know,
I went to Palm Springs. That's why I'm a little fired up about this score. Anyways, rolling on to the next one. I think that's wrong. Yucca Valley and Rubidoux. Rubidoux had a heartbreaker up in Yucca Valley in the playoffs last year. Versus Yucca Valley, and they lose again, 36-13. That's got to be disappointing.
Boy, yeah, I mean, and Yucca Valley was a team that, or I should say, Rubidoux was a team that lost to Ramona in a scrimmage recently.
Shadow Hills, a brand new high school out there in the Coachella Valley near Indio. Last year, their first year in varsity football, got to be a nice, refreshing moment for them to have a nice victory like that. And Etowanda,
this was a barn burner.
49-37. A lot of defense out there tonight in that game.
I don't think anyone expected defense in that
Marietta Valley and Tockwitz, a game that I think I got right. Tockwitz had a rough night. A lot of those Hemet teams a rough night. Lewis is going to definitely not sleep too easy tonight. 34-13. Temecula Valley and Hemet. Hemet there losing. Hemet with a new coach, but they lost. Could be another rough season for Hemet, 38-17.
Temecula Valley, my surprise pick in the Southwestern.
Valley View Beaumont, that was a close one, about as close as it possibly can be. We saw the highlights out of that one, 17-16. Vista Del Lago and Bishop Montgomery, 41 points for Bishop Montgomery, not too shabby.
Yeah, Vista Del Lago's got a team that's got some work to do.
And rolling on, Riverside Christian against Douglas, 23-12.
Showing some love for the small schools here.
Yes, got to show love for everyone. And Elsinore.
CIF champs.
Otay Ranch. They showed, I believe the phrase that we used was summer chumps, fall champs.
So let's see if we can use that every single show this year.
Well, so far, fall champs it is for Elsinore. And again, wait, Palm Springs, Palm Desert, 14-7.
Is this the updated score?
I knew that was right. Palm Springs wouldn't lose in the opener. To the Aztecs. Of course, I'm sure Mr. Tiedemann and Nick King threw an amazing touchdown to win the game. Steve Fabian, he wouldn't lose his first game.
Let's go see how many names you can drop here in this Palm Springs segment.
The principal of Palm Springs High School, celebrated after the game. Tahari Reed, the defensive coordinator, celebrated after the game. Linsfield Christian, a favorite team of Will's.
Steve Silberman, down there now, former RCC coach, gets his first win for Linfield.
18-14. Citrus Valley going to town tonight against New Westminster.
That's a big win.
Oh, yeah, that team out of BC. That's Pep Fernandez's favorite team out of British Columbia. He's a huge British Columbia football fan. Redlands won. That's another game Pep's excited about. Torrey Pines. I love the golf course out there, and apparently they love taking it to town against Colton, 35-7.
And this is one that you're going to have to be watching the press enterprise for the next couple of days. I heard there was some drama on the Colton coaching staff during halftime and some unraveling that went on in that second half, so stay tuned for that one.
They won CIF last year. Surprising that something like that would happen to them.
You never know.
Never know. But what we do know is when we come back from break, we will have one of the big heroes of the night from Ramona, Will's favorite guy, Mr. TJ Miller, the quarterback from Ramona. He will join us on the line. We will talk about not only was it a big moment on the field, but also off the field for him. Will knows all about it. We'll chat about it. When we come back, make sure you don't tune away.
introduce, and I'll talk to him.
Welcome back to HS Game Time Late Night. It is time for our brand new segment. It is the Athlete of the Week, and I don't think there's any question who the Athlete of the Week is this week. It's Mr. TJ Miller. A huge win for him and the Rams against King. And Mr. TJ Miller is on the line with us right now. TJ, are you with us?
Right here with you.
Hey, great game, man, tonight. Will is here. I'm sure you've been spending plenty of time with him. You're probably sick of seeing him this week, but he wants to chat a little bit more about the big game tonight.
TJ, man. Yeah. It's been such a journey for you, talking about last year and you guys going 0-10. And, I was talking with you as you came off the field, and all you kept saying was, finally, man. Talk about what's going through your head.
Oh, well, yeah, of course, finally. It's just we put in so much work in this off season, and last year, just the tragedy of last year, just so much injuries and a lot of hard comings. But this year, just topping it off, it's a great start.
Hey, TJ, it's Chris. We saw you guys in the summer definitely putting in a lot of work. Could you tell when it was July and August that you guys were ready to kind of make your mark this year and bounce back?
Oh, yeah, like past league, stuff like that. We didn't want to get too excited about it, but just seeing how our skill players we have so many different targets this year, and it's not only just one person doing all the work. So,
and just sorry to cut you off there, but you had over 200 yards passing, over 100 yards rushing. But Zach Lewis, so big for you guys tonight, was a guy that had about 130 yards rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns. But the big play, obviously, the 94-yard run. Talk about how big he was for you guys tonight.
Oh wow, yeah. Last year we had Zach at slot receiver, and that was tough because it was new for him. But him running the ball and from the hurdles to the field, he's just transformed. Like, it's great. He stepped up, and it's great to have him there.
When he got out on the edge, and it was just a foot race between him and like two small, quick-looking guys, was it obvious to you? I mean, it was obvious to me because I could see him gaining ground with every step. But what did it look like from you as you were kind of in watching the afterburners kick in with him?
Oh, I knew it. As soon as he gets open ground, he's gonna break it because he just has that turnover speed and that great length, and I knew it. It was great. Right.
And obviously tonight, so much more than just a football game for you. Talk a little bit about reuniting with your dad. I mean, he was in jail for 6 months. There on a charge kind of related to drug stuff with him, and just chat a little bit about first thing that went through your mind when you ran out of the locker room all sweaty and you gave him a big hug.
Oh well, yeah, it's really surreal to me right now. It's still sinking in. He's at my house right now, and I don't know, just seeing him the way he is, finally getting to have my whole family together, clean, and just winning game with my whole family there like that. It's just, it's great just finally seeing him now.
And we've talked so much about how much you've fought throughout your childhood and how much you've yearned for this day to have all these guys back together. Talk about the work that your family's got to go through now, kind of reconnecting with each other here for the next few months.
Well, I think it'll come pretty easy because my mom went through the same struggles that my dad did, so she's on her feet now. She's been for a while, so she's definitely going to help out a lot with my dad and get him set straight, and I don't know, it's going to be great just to have the whole family together again.
And I understand your mom, Amy Miller, going to be named a drug counselor of the year by VFI, I believe it is, Recovery Center. Talk about how excited you are for her. Talk about how excited you are just for your family for that honor.
Oh yeah, that's great because it's really like it's about her second year working there, and it's just like a total flip around, like just helping out the people that she was just not too long ago, and she worked so hard, and I'm so proud of her.
We're seeing some photos now from TJ's cover shoot with the story we did kind of about all that he's overcome. And I hear, it's getting to a little bit of a lighter note. you've been signing some autographs and stuff. You've just gone full on celebrity?
Oh, there's kids at school that I've probably seen once or twice through 3 years, and they're coming up to me telling me how their parents are crying and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but it's cool to just know that people know my story now.
Mm-hmm. And that's
respect, I guess.
Right, and that's one of the catchphrases that me and you've laughed about over the last couple of days. It's cool though, which you throw after everything that may or may not be cool. How many times were you saying it's cool though last year after some of those tough losses?
Oh well, that definitely wasn't going through my mind about it's cool though. Yeah, this year is a lot more. It's cool though, but last year it was just I didn't know how to lead a varsity team, to be honest, and it was tough for me because I would get so frustrated, like my temper came back. But this year I'm settling down and just being positive. It's helping out a lot.
How about the something that you might qualify as cool? The interests that you're receiving from Harvard. What's the situation for that for people that may not have heard?
Well, just talking to Coach Villapiano when he came down at the end of last year. Even though we went through a rough patch this last season, he still seen something in me. So that's just it means a lot. So I'm really pushing towards that because it's really all about my education, So big year could sign that, sign that off. Be nice.
Now, if you went to Harvard and after that, it sounds like you want med school in your future. A plastic surgeon, I believe, is what you were saying your future career was. Are you looking to move to Beverly Hills, or what's the deal there?
Well, honestly, it's just my grandma Jay. She's a nurse at Kaiser Permanente, and just seeing how hard she works and how glad she is when she comes home from work, just helping people like that. I don't know. Plastic surgery is just calls me for some reason. But that's what I'd like to do.
I would imagine, though, if after college, if the NFL came calling, you wouldn't turn that down either.
Oh, well, of course, I mean, if I get into a great program like Harvard or something like that and I work hard, that'd be great.
Right, and then just kind of wrapping it up with you, TJ, you're talking about, the plastic surgery stuff. It was at you guys' team dinner last night and found out that as many as 6 of your teammates have been hit by cars. Some of the stories funnier than others. Would you perform surgery on one of your teammates if they came into you after they were hit by a car?
Well, of course. Those are my brothers, man. It's just we've grown so close since freshman year. Me being pretty much a transfer coming back from Gage Middle School, so it took a while, but we've become so close over these past 3-4 years, and it's great. I'd do anything for these guys. I love them.
And then Riverside Poly, obviously, it's the rivalry game next week. Was a school that you could have gone to. Talk about how jacked you are for that week. Can you go 2-0?
Oh, well, we're just taking it week by week, because this feeling is great, and we're just going to keep working hard this week and putting the work we need to. But, the rivalry is Poly's always the big week, so.
I know you're a humble guy, but you got to have a little extra chip on your shoulder for that one.
Oh, well, yeah, I've been working with Nordbeck over there these past couple of years, and I've learned a lot from him. So, yeah, it's always a big game. So, yeah.
All right, bud. Well, TJ, man, we wish you the best on the win. Very cool story that you've got, and we really thank you for letting us share it with you a little bit here the past few weeks, and wish you nothing but the best, my man.
Hey, thank you guys very much. It's nice talking to you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, well, once again, congratulations to the Rams. A huge game for them tonight after last season. Hopefully they can continue the hot streak going on through the season. Before we go out to break, we just want to tell you, coming up in our third segment, which this is a brand new show, so every segment is brand new, we're going to take a look at our social media, what's hot now in the prep football world as far as Twitter and Facebook. Things are running hot. Will's been tracking it down. We got a couple funny segments that we saw, a couple back and forths between players throughout the Valley. So we will have that when we come back. I'm Chris Erkley, Will Holden. Don't go anywhere. You're watching HS Game Time Late Night. What?
We're just sitting there staring.
Dante at some. Time for the social media segment where we take a look at Twitter, Facebook, the works. The first one we zone in on here is Twitter. A guy from Summit, Mr. Dante Dion, a very active Twitter guy. Will, just tell us a little bit, if we could pull up his Twitter page. Will, tell us what he's got going here.
Dante is a guy that we're all familiar with because he is committed to Boise State. And for the record, actually, it's not necessarily the Boise State stuff that has drawn him to Twitter. It's not necessarily football either. He's got a pair of brothers that are rap artists actually involved with Interscope Records. And so they kind of got him into the whole Twitter thing and have been kind of giving him a little bit of love with all of the Twitter connections. And so they'll kind of mention him. And so he actually, just by virtue of tweeting about his life, about nothing else, got to 700 followers just overnight from his bros saying,
and hot.
This is my little bro, check him out. And so once people realize that he's this football stud, then he starts having some interesting conversations with other football studs. One of which is Devin Blackman
from Oregon Duck
right.
Way.
Yeah, he's also another Fontana Summit kid. And as we kind of take a look at some of the highlights from Dion. And he, of course, is a guy that is just an outstanding cornerback, had 10 picks last year. And so he's a guy that, he is sort of a Neon Dion type. Mm-hmm. He's got the high fade going, although he's shaved it off. And this has actually been one of the conversations he's been having on Twitter, is that some of the females in his school now believe he somewhat resembles Nick Cannon. Could
be good, could not.
Yeah, he's been combating that, I believe, over the Twitter feeds. But yeah, is a guy that's very athletic and has, obviously piqued Boise State's interest. And so when he commits with Boise State, then his Twitter followers go up by 300. His kid's got 1,000 Twitter followers right now. And,
blowing up.
It's not just his family anymore, of his mom, like basically I have on Twitter. So
Will's got a few million.
Yeah, we were actually just chatting with some people that I believe there are only two, of the 250 people that follow me, I think only 2 of them are women. So one of them isn't my mom, by the way, or a girlfriend. So two friends out there.
Back to Dante.
Indeed, we caught up with him, and this is a kid that's a pretty good talker. I mean, he's a little bit shy, but he's also a guy that will get in the booth with his brothers and spit it for a little bit. So I don't know if we can go ahead and roll
we'll
that one.
We'll caught up with Dante and let him share a little bit about his Twitter flow.
Yeah, we're just trying to keep it light here and
that's what Mr. Jeff we're getting to him in a minute. We're going to get Dante up. Here's Dante talking about his Twitter game.
They actually started me on the Twitter game, and they said, well, this is a good way to communicate and see what's going on. And I bought into it, and now I have my Twitter and I'm getting followers. They shout me out a lot as well, with me doing well in football, and they love to see me doing well, so they just shout me out, and then my followers go up. My brother's in a rap label called Audio Push. They're a group that are signed with Interscope, and they make good music, and everybody likes it, and they talk to me a lot on Twitter back and forth, and and we be talking back and forth, and people follow us.
And there it is. He's, like we said, a guy that's got the connection to the rap game. It's not something you see very often at the high school level.
You never know. That could be a famous family here in a couple of years.
Exactly.
Moving on, speaking of famous names, Pete Carroll comes to mind when we're talking about Santiago's Jeff Steinberg. You may have remembered Pete Carroll a few years ago, the little trickery on his USC Trojan players when he was there with the Trojans. There's Mr. Steinberg's page. And what he did there, Will, was take a page out of Pete Carroll's April Fool's book and just explain the trick.
Exactly. Pete Carroll's done this now, both at USC and at Seattle, where he's at, of course, right now. And it's a kind of a trick where you have a police officer come in and act as though he's arresting one of your players. unbeknownst typically to the player, and that was the case with Jeff Steinberg and Corona Santiago as well. And so, this was a deal where, Pete Carroll, we're going to roll to it real quick. He's coming in, the AD is letting him know, hey, we've got a situation here. And he's talking about abusing a freshman, one of his defensive linemen.
So the officer takes him out.
We got the tape to show that it's Everson Griffin here.
Not OJ.
We've got the fuzz full on it. This is scary if you're
The players are fooled, they're worried.
And so they got him in the cuffs, they're bringing him out, and then here comes the abuse of the freshman.
It's on tape.
Matt Meyer, USC freshman offensive tackle, was abused.
So they pulled the same trick out at Santiago. We don't have video of it, but there was a photo of it, and we did get a chance to catch up with Jeff Steinberg to explain. Will talked with him a little while ago to talk a bit about the whole trickery that he pulled a play out of Pete Carroll's book.
We're just trying to keep it light here and have some fun with the players working so hard. And we were doing a little locker room meeting with the players, and then we had the police officer Griffiths, our school resource officer, come in and asked to see one of our players who it turned out to be Isaiah, and I made a little bit of a panic and alarm. And anyways, to make a long story short, he asked if he could speak to Isaiah, there'd be a possible arrest, and I panicked and I said, hey, what's going on here? Can you tell me? Can you give me some information on this? And he said, hey, Isaiah, we need to talk to you about all the defensive line you've been abusing. And so the team got it right there, and everybody was howling, and I think Isaiah was still a little scared, not knowing what was going on, but it was a funny moment, and I wish I had it on video.
If I'm a high school kid, you didn't see it. We didn't have the picture for you, but in the picture there was the principal and the school officer standing there getting ready to take away the football player. And if I'm a high school kid like that, I'm probably sweating bullets if something like that goes down.
And there is the shot here.
There we go.
It's one of the school's safety patrol officers. And if I saw the 5-0 rolling up in there,
to juvie, he thought he went, but luckily he did not.
Exactly. So that's some of the stuff we're looking for. So of course, if you feel like you're spitting some knowledge about Inland Empire sports, high school sports in particular,
good, yeah.
we're definitely on the lookout for you. I'm on Twitter as well. My Twitter handle is Will_C_Holden. Checking it out.
He wants a few more followers too.
Any of you females out there who want to increase the two that is currently rocking my following list, that would be great as well.
Or prep football players wouldn't mind a few followers. Right. Anyway, speaking of prep football, we are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we are going to take a look at the Pick'em League. Maybe we can have a chance to talk a little trash, see who here in HS Game Time was the top dog as far as Pick'em goes. We're going to review the list from top to bottom. I just hope my name wasn't at the bottom. Will does too.
Mine's going to be close.
Maybe someone around here will be, so we can razz them. But anyways, we'll take a look at the Pick'em. Don't go anywhere, though. You're watching HS Game Time Late Night. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to HS Game Time Late Night. It is the time where we can have some fun and talk some trash because it is time to look at the pick'em. There's been a lot of trash talking over the week. Who's going to be up there? Who knew the most about inland football? And it's only week 0, but still we have some time to talk some trash. Let's take a look at the leaderboard if we can. The top dog tonight was not one of us. It was Mr. Matt Taylor out of Grand Terrace. He had 13 out of 15 correct. Nobody perfect on the night. He won the tiebreaker because he was also tied with GTFB fan who also had 13 out of 15. But that Rancho blowout, that 49-0 was the deal breaker. And Will, you got to be surprised there, huh?
I had 42-21. I didn't think West Valley was going to get smoked like that. They got a couple running backs there that can really put it on. They weren't putting it on tonight.
I had Rancho scoring in the 40s, but I did not have 49-0. Then also, second place, we had 10 people tied at 12. That's too many numbers, too many names.
Might be too many numbers for this math that was over here, too.
Anywho, that's 12 out of 15, not too shabby as well. And of course, our favorite time is to look at who here at HSGT did the best. And as you can see on the right side, the top dog, the prep dog, John Murphy, 11 out of 15. He gets bragging rights. He's so happy he already left the building to go celebrate. It's past Murph's bedtime, I think. But then we had a 5-way tie with 10 out of 15. Lewis is throwing stuff at me. Anyways, we got EPJ, of course, me, the new guy around here with 10 out of 15.
He adds the of course.
Dave Zink, 10 out of 15. And he didn't even have to pick the Notre Dame game. Look at that. Oh, he picked Cajon. No one else did. Got to throw some love out there for that because, you know, everyone was jumping on the Chaparral bandwagon and backfired for most people.
For the record, I voiced some doubts about Chaparral, but not enough to pick against them.
EPJ was praising them like they were the
number 2 team.
Miracle team, and it backfired.
Number 2 team
Mr. Jeff Parenti was also there with 10. And our 2010 champ, Dr. Shahansky, I'm sorry if I'm getting your name wrong there. But that's the phonetics that I received.
Change the ethnicity of
But he was the 2010 champ, and not a bad start right there. 10 out of 15 for him. And Pep, a little bit of a sad night for Pep. Only 8, but hey, he's only been here for about 3 minutes, so we'll cut him a break. The guy who we won't cut a break, though, Lewis. The guy who always seems to go with the homer pick. And what do you know? It was the homer pick that backfired. 7 out of 15. That's below 50%. That's like a F- for Lewis. Jesus.
And Lewis will argue that his picks were sabotaged by the.
He picked Hemet twice and they lost. So I guess that's -2 right there.
Yeah. Well, we're being screamed at now. There's clearly some a little bit of man love, I think, going on behind the glass window over there.
If the Banning Broncos were on there, Lewis would have had another deduction, but luckily they weren't on the pick'em this week. We are going to love to razz Lewis if he continues to stay in the cellar. I'm just hoping that I can catch up to the prep dog. Hopefully if I go against the Chaparral phenomenon, which backfired in the first week. Will was also 9 you had, Will?
9. You know, we're keeping it respectable here between the hosts of Late Night.
That's water boy status. Not quite up there.
We'll see about that. He's going to crown himself the champion after 1 week, but we will be back here next week.
So far, looks like lunch is on Lewis on Monday, so if you want about noontime, stop by PE, and the bottom guy picks up lunch. That would be Lewis Amistoy. Anyways, I think everyone has heard enough of us for now. We are going to call it a night. Thanks for watching the first night, the Week 0 edition of HS Game Time Live, and of course, HS Game Time Late Night Edition. Will, I'm sure you had a great time.
I don't know. I can't think of anywhere else I'd rather be at 1 a.m. on a Friday.
We just hope that Week 1 is as exciting as Week 0. Make sure if you haven't had a chance to sign up for your pick'em, you are going to be a week behind, but you're still probably going to be able to catch up into the mix if you make some of the right picks. Just go into hsgametime.pe.com, scroll down to the middle on the left-hand side, and you will be able to sign up. Of course,
you'll probably pass Lewis in Week 1.
Yeah, probably will. I was PS Indians 04. Indians got the big win tonight, 14-7. I was happy about that. Anyways, enough talking about the Indians. That was Week 0, an exciting week. I'm sure every week will be exciting. Make sure to tune in beginning at 9 o'clock with Lewis here on HS Game Time Live, hsgametime.pe.com. You're here right now. Make sure you make it your home every Friday night during the prep football. Pep's over there. I'm talking about prep football season. For Will Holden, I'm Chris Erkley, and we will see you next Friday.